Now arriving at Sydney Airport.
What's up, team? My name is Squishy Joshi and I have an announcement to make. I am leaving the country. Why do you ask? Because of the Sydney Airport rebrand. We need to talk about this rebrand now. But before we fly into this, smash that like button. So let's talk about why the rebrand is bad. Let me ask you something. Have you ever gone to a hairdresser recently and you've asked for a mad fade, but by the end of the haircut you realize that it's not a mad fade, but a subpar or mediocre fade? Well, that's what this new rebrand for Sydney Airport feels like, a bad fade. Now, this rebrand was done by a design agency called Frost, who also did the rebranding for Strand Bags and a couple of other companies as well. And just don't get me started on them. I look at this low effort design and wonder exactly how many milliseconds it took them to come up with this. It honestly looks like whoever was in creative control of this literally just typed the letters SYD, which is an abbreviation for Sydney, and put a little opacity filter across it and called it a day and was like, you know what, this is the logo. This is going to represent Sydney. But it honestly just seems like they're taking the piss out of it. Now let's talk about the old and new and maybe compare it with some brands or other places that are doing it as well. The old logo was unique in the sense that it had the airport feel. It is a bit outdated, but this new logo doesn't really tell me much at all. It doesn't really have that airport feel. It reminds me a bit of like the navigation system that they use for like New York subways with this cheap sort of Helvetica looking font. But yeah, like I was saying, this new logo really doesn't say much about Sydney or the fact that it's standing for Sydney's airport, and even the ways that this logo was rolled out and put across like various imagery and billboards and stuff like that. Even if they are mock-ups, they just doesn't look like an airport, okay? It looks more like a fashion brand. So this billboard mock-up looks like a fashion magazine or an ad for some high-end perfume. You know, it doesn't really tell me much. I mean, it could also be like an ad for Target with the use of the black and white. This wide billboard that they've done looks like a non-existent Sydney nightlife. This sort of thing would never even happen at an airport unless you're trying to display the writing designers that are angry at this new look. And what is this last billboard even trying to say? Is it trying to say that the parents can go on holidays and leave their toddlers behind? What does any of this mean, and what connections does it have to flights, or to Sydney, or to live in Sydney? I think the only really redeeming quality about this rebrand is the fact that they stuck to some sort of grid. And that comment, to be honest, is quite generous. I'm sorry to all you people at Frost. I'm sure you're all lovely people, but this has to be said. However, I want you to all keep in mind that this is a personal opinion and you do not have to agree with me. But all you designers out there, smash that like button right now, because to an extent, I'm sure we can all agree on this. Just check out these statistics. Oh, don't lie. To be honest, this new logo kind of looks like they're piggybacking off the new Uber rebrand, but it's just nowhere near as creative. This video here that they've got with the multicolor Sydney logo, this one confuses me. This one's just like, Avengers Infinity Stones here. You got the Space Stone and the Power Stone, and then you got the Mind Stone and the Time Stone and the Soul Stone. It's literally all the colors of the Infinity Stones. So I am going to make that comparison. And this whole opacity thing that's going on, it's just like the whole Thanos finger snap. I also actually don't understand why this brand needs so many color variations, especially in this application. I personally think that a brand should have no more than 3 colors if they want to remain, unique in the market. And I feel like this is becoming like a common trend with a lot of businesses nowadays. I think about Burwood Council, who also did a rebrand for their logo. Their old logo was outdated, just like the Sydney Airport logo. But I feel like there's a lot of these companies now that are going ahead with this trend to make multi-color logos, and when you do that, you're just like every other company. That's not what you should be doing. When you're designing a logo, you shouldn't be sticking or looking for trends. Sure, maybe run a campaign on a trend, but having a logo that like is supposed to identify your company for the years to come, like it just shouldn't be done to a trend. And I know that the whole colorful thing stands for various different things like multiculturalism and other PC related topics, but we won't get into that on this channel because we're not a political channel. And if you want that sort of content, I'm sure there's hundreds of other YouTube channels out there for you to get that kind of content. But this is more about design. This is more about, discussing the different decisions that these companies have done. And so, of course, it's just my personal opinion as well. Think about why brands like McDonald's are so successful. They literally just use the red and the yellow, and everyone can instantly recognize them. But you might be asking, how can you do it better, Josh? And in response to that, I would give you a very subjective answer. But let's just jump into Illustrator and try some stuff out. I think they missed an opportunity here to experiment with the Y. It kind of looks like a runway, right? Or maybe even a plane if you rotate it around. Perhaps maybe a different font would have been nicer. Definitely use different imagery. That's what I would do. Stuff to at least give more of the feeling of being in Sydney or the airport. Something more relatable in that regard. And just these little slight details already put so much more effort into it. And we're just going to remove this opacity filter completely because it won't work in every application. It won't work in every print job. It won't work on every image. It's not something that you should use as a logo mark. It's an effect, and effects are supposed to be used sparingly. But hopefully I've done a better job on this. And if you prefer my design, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the bell notification because, bells are a satisfying sound and we want more of that satisfaction on this channel. Now, to wrap this up, I just wanted to say that I'm not actually leaving the country because of this rebrand, but I'm going on a much needed holiday after 3 years of not going on any holidays at all and just working non-stop. I'll be going to Taiwan, Philippines, and possibly Singapore, and along the way I'll be filming some of that journey and also thinking of new design related things to be posting up on this channel and also all my social media accounts. So be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram as well. Links in the description, just down here. And before we wrap up this video, just give it one last thumbs up because if you click the button twice because of my earlier prompts, you would have actually unliked the video, or not. You wouldn't have disliked it, but you would have unliked the video. So press it a third time. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next one. Once again, you've just been branded by Brand Patrol.